like I've said over and over again, if they can't get your positive energy, they will go for your negative energy. And I just had an amazing thing happen the other day. It wasn't amazing, it was actually horrible. But I'm going to share it with you now that proves this point. My husband and I were laying out at the pool at our resort and just tanning, minding our own business. We were not talking to anyone else. We were not bothering anyone else. And there was a party behind us that were bothered by our presence. I'm not sure why. It was mainly driven by a man in the group, two men in the group. And I'm not trying to pick apart anyone's appearance. That is just not my cup of tea. But I'm going to say that it would be I would be remiss if I didn't point out that they were both very unattractive men. And I don't need to go into why. They had their wives with them, and they were bothered by our presence, basically my presence, because what they started to do was their children started to dive into the pool, and they were doing cannonballs mere feet from where we were sitting. And it was drenching us. I'm talking Shamu at SeaWorld drench level. My Kindle was soaking wet, my phone was soaking wet, and I'm not one of those people that's rude to kids at a pool at all. I have 6 kids, so I understand that kids are going to be kids at the pool and they're going to have fun, especially on vacation, and they have every right to be there. But this was just flat out rude. My husband had to stand up multiple times and dry off his electronics, and he was drenched, and he wanted to literally go fight them. And I took him to the pool and I talked to him closely in the shallow end away from them, and I said, do not give them your energy. That is what they want. Because what ended up happening towards the end of this ordeal was the parents started to cheer the kids on. The men saw that we were bothered. They saw that I was getting wet. They loved it because I was literally ignoring them, and they wanted my attention. They wanted my negative attention. They wanted to piss my husband off. They wanted to rile us up. And for no reason, we had done nothing, but they were cheering their kids on in loud, boisterous ways. I mean, they could have easily been at a football game, cheering their sons, their giant 16 and 18-year-old sons, to cannonball into the water feet from us, to bother us. So I took him over to the shallow end and I kind of gave him a pep talk, and I said, do not give them your energy. That's what they want. They want to have a fight. It's not going to change anything. People like this are so desperate for energy from people like us, and I'm just going to say it, when you have a high vibration and you look good, people hate you, and they're going to try to get your energy, and if they can't get it in positive ways, they'll try to be negative. My husband calmed down. We went back over, and they tried to do it for a bit more. We completely ignored them, so they stopped. Because like a tantruming toddler, unless they're getting attention for their poor behavior, they'll get bored and go on to the next activity that's going to bug somebody. And my husband went to go get me a drink or something, and I was there by myself reading my Kindle. This giant man, who was a father to these boys and cheering them on a couple minutes earlier, dives into the water and does a cannonball and gets me all wet while I'm just reading my Kindle alone. And he looks over at the other man in the party and says, oh, did I splash a little too hard? And they laughed at each other, to each other. And that proves to me a man like this is dangerous, because a man like this will do anything to get a woman's energy, even if it means being negative, being annoying, and at the worst, harming you. That man is dangerous. It wasn't just a splash in the pool. It was him trying to get my feminine energy. Don't worry though, I didn't give him an ounce. I didn't even look up at him. I wouldn't even give him that. But I told my husband about it later, and he was very concerned. A type of man like that is unsafe. So I'm going to tell you right now, if the man in your life is acting untoward and acting out of pocket and being a nuisance, and you're asking him to change or level up in some way, and you're withdrawing your energy because he's not, know that his bids for your attention are now going to be negative. He is now going to be horrible to you and be even worse to you, because if they can't get your positive energy, they will get your negative energy. They will try to get your negative energy. And the best thing you can do is withdraw it. It's the best revenge. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, if you have a man like this that's aggressive towards you when he's not getting your attention, be wary of that. He's not a safe man, and I would advise you to get out of that situation.